about this different types of the qualitative research procedures, that is direct or indirect, non-disguised and disguised. So we have already discussed about this focus group. Now today we will discuss about this depth interview and the projective techniques. So let me open this. Yeah, depth interviews. So if we are talking about depth interview, means we are actually discussing about the some direct technique, this type of qualitative research which is basically direct in nature. Direct means when the objective is known to the respondent. So in the same way as I have discussed about this focus group, there is some other technique which is known as depth interview. Again, it is a kind of unstructured, direct and the personal interview. Focus group was, you can say, it was a semi-structured in the sense like like before starting your focus group, you you develop some questionnaire, some screening questionnaire. Means so that in that case, in that way, you can say it's a kind of semi-structured technique. But in case of depth interview, it's totally an unstructured, direct. Direct here means objective is known to the respondent. Personal interview, in which a single respondent is probed by a highly skilled interviewer to uncover underlying motivations, beliefs, attitudes, and feelings on a topic. Means basically, this depth interviews are conducted by the researcher in order to know your internal aspects of the consumer, like something that consumers doesn't want to uncover or doesn't want to share. So that is basically your motivation, your belief, or your attitude and feeling on certain topic. Like if I ask you, how do you feel about shopping at department stores during this pandemic? So so let's say some consumer may respond like shopping is not any fun anymore. Now you get one this word fun. So you may ask some different question, why is not fun anymore, or why was it was fun before and what has changed. So means if you are simply asking the respondent about this, your feeling towards your feeling about shopping at department store, कैसी feeling की बात आई, consumers respond fun. Now from that fun, you will make some question, not exactly this question, you can ask some other question. Then why it is fun, or why is it not fun, or what is the effect, like before it was fun and what happened to this time that you consider like it's not fun anymore. So the respondent will give some answer. So from that answer you have to make questionnaire. You have to make different questions, and then finally after asking 10-15 questions, you will come up with some data, or you will come up with some information. Or here research, here interviewer is probing the respondent to uncover the hidden issue. This is called the probing. Like from the answers that the respondent will give you, you will ask some other question. Spontaneously you have to make some question from the answers you are getting, and then you will ask some other question related to your topic, related to your objective. Let's say you guys, most of you are doing your study on pandemic, then consumer preferences, or let's say stress, and then your compulsivity. Then somebody is working on child obesity. So you will ask some questions, simply one question, you will get some response. So from that response, again you have to make some question. That question, irrelevant question नहीं, that question should be related to your objective. Means whatever answer जो भी आपको मिले, it should be useful to you. ऐसा नहीं कि somebody will say is not fun, तो आप लगे फिर fun activity, movies and all के बारे में बात करें. You have to talk about your objective, or make sure that whatever questions you are asking, जो भी responses मिल रहे हैं, that are aligned with your objective. जो भी क्वेश्चन पूछा, that should be aligned with your objective. So that is known as the depth interview, and it is totally unstructured in nature. Unstructured in the sense कि आपने pre-planned, there is no any pre-planned questionnaire. You have to make questions spontaneously. जैसे ही आपको response मिला, spontaneously you will make your question and ask it to the respondents. So in order to conduct this depth interview, there are two different techniques. One is this ladder से आपका laddering आता है एक, and second is your this symbolic analysis. So first is laddering. So in laddering, ladder means आपका जो भी होता है तो laddering. In laddering, a line of questioning proceeds from product characteristics to user characteristics. This technique allows the researcher to tap into the consumer's network of meaning. Means basically to uncover the consumer's psychological and the emotional aspect or the emotional reasoning or something internal. As I have already explained that in depth interview also, it is more or less related to know something hidden or that consumers or the respondent don't want to share. Then laddering is one of the technique to uncover those hidden issues, uncover those psychological and the emotional aspects. So suppose there is some, basically in laddering what you will do, you will start with some product character. Suppose you have some product, so you will start with that product characteristic. Or suppose you have some service, so you will start from some certain characteristic or certain attributes of your service. So let's say there is some airlines, let's say up Indigo. So Indigo will say we have a very wide body aircraft. So that is about product characteristic. So what will happen? You will ask some question that is related to this wide body aircraft. So what will happen? Respondent will answer, I can get more work done. Okay, so that is the respondent's answer. When there is a wide body aircraft, in that aircraft I can get more work done. Okay, so if consumers can do more work, I feel more accomplished. I accomplish more, or you can say the consumer's self-esteem would be high. If consumer self-esteem would be high, then obviously I feel good about myself. So what happened? You have started with this product characteristic. You have made your question that is related to your product characteristic, and what would happen? Finally, you are getting like, if we have a wide body aircraft, what would happen? The consumers feel good about themselves. So, or you can say, I feel good about myself. So wide body aircraft जैसे ही होगा, consumer will respond, yes, I can get more work done. So if मेरा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम होगा, then obviously my self-esteem would be high. If my self-esteem would be high, then obviously I feel good about myself. So what would be the advertising thing? You will feel good about yourself when flying our airlines, or you can say you are the boss. So what happened? We have started from this product characteristic, and finally user characteristic, like the consumers feel good about themselves. So in this technique of laddering, basically the consumers will start from asking some questions that is related to this product characteristic, and finally you will uncover this, I feel good about myself, means you will uncover this user characteristic. This is actually hidden characteristic, and you have to uncover this hidden characteristic. So what would happen? The company would know that if we have a wide body aircraft, it makes the consumers good about themselves. So you can make your advertising theme like, you can make your advertisement that will show you that you will feel good about yourself when flying our airlines, or you can simply say you are the boss. So that is the depth interview technique, or first technique, that is known as the laddering. Second type of technique under this depth interview technique is symbolic analysis. Here in symbolic analysis, you will ask some questions by comparing them with their opposites, like currently is pandemic or no pandemic. If there is pandemic, there is no opposite would be no pandemic. Demonetization, no demonetization. ऐसे करके you will ask different question, like what would happen if there were no pandemic, or what would happen if there were no demonetization, or what would happen if Congress would be in power. So these are the different means in symbolic analysis you will simply ask questions by comparing them with their opposites. Okay, like if I ask you what would it be like if you could no longer use airplanes, so that is my question key. If there is airplane, if there is no airplane, then in that case what would happen? So in that case there may be the chances that consumer may reply, I would have to rely on the letters and the long distance calls. So during this response you will make some other question, then again this response will come like then in that case the airlines have to sell managers face-to-face communication. Or simply suppose if I ask you, why do you simply purchase any particular brand of cosmetics, or if that particular brand, or let's say if Lakme is not uh, there in the cosmetic brand, then what would happen? So, or not in case of Lakme, let's say if you say Maybelline is not in the brand, then what would happen to the ladies? So the female may reply like the Maybelline is a very reasonable price, or you can say it's a very it's a good brand, and it's and we can get the products at a very reasonable price. So means two things come, like if Maybelline is not as a cosmetic brand, then what would happen? The female consider this brand as a very like a good brand and reasonably priced. Then again you can make some question that is related to this brand image, good brand, or that is related to reasonably priced. Then you will get some response, and then again you can ask from that response you have to make, or you have to compose some question. Then again you will get some response, and finally after asking 8 to 10 questions you will come up with number of information. So that is known as the symbolic analysis. And so in depth interviews there are two different techniques, that is laddering, and the second is the symbolic analysis. So under this qualitative research analysis, if you are doing qualitative research analysis, the qualitative is divided into two parts, that is direct and indirect. In direct technique, there are two different techniques, that is the focus group and the depth interviews. The depth interviews is further classified as the laddering and the symbolic analysis. Now, the second type of the qualitative research analysis is basically known as this projective techniques. So, in case of projective techniques, when the respondents, means it is disguised in it. Projective techniques are generally used when you are using this disguised research technique, or disguised qualitative research, when objective is not known to the respondents. Means when whatever questions you are asking, respondents are doesn't know about what is the main motive of conducting this research. You will simply ask some questions. Suppose you will ask some questions to me, ma'am, what is your income, or ma'am, जो भी questions you can ask different questions to me. So मुझे इसका objective नहीं पता है. I will be thinking what is the objective, why that person is asking my income. So that is known as the disguised. And there are different methods of the projective techniques, like basically word association. You will give different words to me, or different words to your respondents, and they will associate those words to something. Let's say if जैसे मैंने यहाँ पे दिया है, there is some detergent company, and they have used the different stimulants, different words like wash day, fresh, pure, scrub, filth, then bubbles, family, and travels. So there are two respondents, Mrs. M and Mrs. C. There, if I ask wash day, Mrs. M will say it's every day, it's a Sunday. Then pure, both have replied it's clean, air. Then filth, they will say our neighbors, and somebody will say, let's say Mr. C responds dirt, then towels, then dirty, and the wash. These are the different responses that you will get by asking them, or by giving the different stimulus as per the objective of your research, whatever study. Or let's say during this pandemic, so most of you are doing your study on pandemic, so you will make 10 different stimulating words like lockdown kya hai, फिर COVID-19. So what comes to your mind when this lockdown आता है, या फिर आपका ये shutdown आता है, COVID-19 आता है, corona आता है, will use 10 different stimulating words, and what the respondents are giving to you answer. After that, see, these are the responses of Mrs. M, and these are the responses of Mrs. C based on the different stimulating words. So what you will conclude, like Mrs. C, Mrs. M, she is dirt as inevitable and doesn't want to do much about it. She doesn't do hard cleaning, nor does she get pleasure from her family. So this is the interpretation on the basis of this the responses you are getting from Mrs. M. Again, Mrs. C, she is dirt too, but is energetic and less emotional. She is actively ready to combat dirt and use soap and water as her weapon. So these are the two different. You can get the behavior. You can say you are actually getting the behavior of two different consumers, that is Mrs. M and Mrs. C, and both are using certain detergent. Let's say there is some detergent X, and these are the responses. On the basis of that responses, you get to know the behavior of two different responses. So that is known as the word association. In the same way, there is one technique which is known as role playing. In role playing, what would happen? You will make some situation and you will ask your respondent to answer. What you will do when you will under this situation? That is known as the role playing. There is some cartoon test. In cartoon test, like I did in my PhD when I was doing my research. So my study is basically on the compulsive buying. So compulsive buying, the main reason hota hai because of the stress. So what I did, I simply paste a picture of a person who is under stress condition. So I means float the questionnaire. Simply there is this white page and I simply paste a picture of one person who is under very stress condition or who is crying. So what happened? The consumers have responded. I simply asked them to what would be your response. Suppose consider this is you. So what you will do? So they have replied like I will go for shopping, or somebody says I'll consume some alcohol, or somebody said like I'll consume my cigarette, or I'll go for buying some, let's say, electronic gadgets, or I'll go for movie, or I'll go for shopping. So I get different responses, and from that responses I identified like the girls are basically, when they are under stress condition, they usually purchase the apparel, they usually purchase the clothes, or they usually go to this movie, or for they usually go to shopping malls or the movies or for the apparel purchase. But in case of male, I identified most of them said I assume I will consume this alcohol or either electronic gadgets. So that is a finding. That is a finding I get from this this you can say cartoon test, or you can say this picture test. So you can do it for your study also. You can, as per the objective of your study, you have to make some questionnaire like this. You will have to pay. If you are not good in drawing, so you can simply download few pictures from the Google and then you can paste it and simply ask the respondent what you will do if you are under this condition. और child obesity पे है तो किसी मोटे बच्चे का फोटो लगा दिया है, and you will simply ask somebody what you will do if you are under this situation, or consider this is you. So what is happening in your mind? What would happen to your life if you are so upset? So that is known as this picture test or cartoon test. Then sentence completion also, like a student who shops at X cafe is maybe kuch bhi up, you can respond anything. Compared to other dishes, plastic dishes are, you can, the respondent can ask. So these are the different types of sentence completion. Based on your objective, you will make different sentences and then you will identify what are the different responses you are getting. I got angry when, maybe agar main aapki class mein puchu, you will say when ma'am asked some questions. So that is, then I will come to know it like the most of the student got angry when I simply ask them some questions. Or why do you like this class? Somebody will say because of the activity, because of the lecture or anything. Or why do you dislike this class? Somebody will say it's a monotonous lecture or anything. So I'll come to know, means I'll come to know, yes, these are the facts and because of which the consumers or the like or dislike this particular. So that is known as the completion technique or sentence completion. In the same way, there is in completion technique, there is some story completion technique. So I'll give you some half story and I'll ask you to complete it. So that is known as the story completion technique. So these are the different projective techniques like the word association or simply sentence completion or role playing, then story completion. So these are the techniques which are used for this.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Acha, hello?
Yes, ma'am, now it is audible.
Okay.
40 seconds के पहले.
Okay. So these are the different completion techniques not completion technique, different type of projective techniques. Like I have discussed about this word association, then I have discussed about this uh, sentence completion, then
Cartoon test.
yeah, cartoon test, then the role playing, then the picture test. So you have to identify which test you are going to use, whether you are going to use this projective technique. If you are using projective technique, then which test will fits to your as per your objective. So whether it's a sentence completion, whether it's a story test, or whether it's a role playing, you, as a researcher you have to identify. Like in my case, I did on compulsivity and the stress, so I use this cartoon test. Like I simply take a white sheet, और उसमें मैंने एक बच्चे जो कि रोता हुआ था, उसका means that particular picture depicts that the person is in the stress condition. So what you will do if you are under this situation? I get 100 of responses. Then analyze it, then I come to know female usually purchase apparel and the male usually go for this electronic gadgets. Female usually go for movies and the shopping malls. Male जो होते हैं generally they will consume alcohol and all. So these are the my basic finding. मेरी basic findings थी कि yes, these are the few things जो मुझे अगर मैं directly उनसे question ask करती, then they will not give me the answer. But indirectly if I ask them, then they give the different. So you have to think like as per your topic, which technique you are going to use. Like if I ask you to conduct some depth interviews as per the objective of your study, child obesity है तो किसी person से या किसी भी person से you can ask their views. You have to simply collect the views of the respondent as per the objective of your study. Pandemic and this work behavior or the sexism in the workplace. So you can ask the different questions to your respondent. Simply आपने ज़्यादा respondent से नहीं, 3-4 respondent से you will continuously talk. ये भी नहीं कि आपको एक structured way में कुछ बनाना है. Simply it will be a normal talk in any language. हिंदी, English, उड़िया कुछ भी चलेगा. But at the end you have to identify or you have to interpret कि what are your findings. इस particular person से मैंने 15 minutes एक किसी particular topic पे बात किया. Then what is my finding? उसने क्या क्या बोला मुझे? You have to identify और वो जो भी उसने बोला उसमें से what things you can use. So that is known as the depth interviews, or you can say it's a this projective techniques or whatever, or focus group. So what you will do it for your study. You will do it for your objective. You will mention it in your this report, whatever report you will submit. You will mention that we have conducted some qualitative study for my qualitative research for my topic, and qualitative study किया तो क्या किया? Suppose you have conducted the focus group, or let's say you will say ma'am I have conducted this in-depth interview, or I did this projective technique. So you will mention कि simply आपने कुछ इस पे करना नहीं है. You will simply ask few questions कि अच्छा अगर आप suppose आप किसी particular brand को लेके कर रहे हो, you will ask simply few questions. आप पूछोगे उसका क्या response आ रहा है. Again उस response से you will make some question. Again वो क्या respond कर रहा है. So you will write everything in your report. Okay. So your one task is to include it in your report. That is your qualitative research. Quantitative तो जब questionnaire बनाएंगे, structured questionnaire, and then you will collect data, फिर उसको SPSS में करेंगे. That is the quantitative. But qualitative firstly you will conduct. So you will उसको करना है आपको qualitative.